baseball in terms of the Astros, but it affects a lot of other teams and players as well. And I don't think Major League Baseball did enough, Eric. I think that guys like Alex Cora, guys that they know were at the heart of this, should be banned. If you're going to ban Pete Rose and you're not going to let him back into Major League Baseball for what he did, I feel like this scandal is far worse than what Pete Rose did, because you have people that are directly manipulating the game of baseball. And that's what they tried to say that Pete Rose did, but he's more limited from a coach. He's not going to tell his players. He's trying to win games, or the way that it seemed. These guys are screwing over and manipulating games and players' careers and the different franchises in Major League Baseball. And to your point, now that betting is legalized, you can't have this kind of controversy where you have this type of manipulation. Look, sign stealing has always been part of the game. It's been there in the NFL as well, where you're trying to get some kind of an advantage. But when you start putting technology and using those type of parameters to get the information, that's where it becomes an issue. Right. And the Astros did this for so long, Eric, that's what makes me feel like people had to know this was going on. When you go to Minute Maid Park and you hear a freaking trash can getting banged, there's video of a pitcher going, they know the signs. They know what we're pitching. And even that story goes on to talk about that they thought one of the White Sox pitchers knew what they were up to, and they went in and like took one of the monitors down and ran off and hid it in some closet.
Yeah.
I mean, people had to know this was going on, and they just let it go because, well, what do we do? If we can just kind of keep it the dirty little secret, and maybe other teams know what's going on, and some will be smart enough to change their signs and know what's going on when they go to Minute Maid Park. I really don't even know what to say. It's such an embarrassing story for baseball. And this is a sport that, quite honestly, can't take this type of negative press. The NFL, even with all the stuff that's going on with them, it's been Kaepernick kneeling, how they dealt with Ray Rice. It's not been on the field outside of the Patriots with just direct, blatant manipulation of games and of titles and championships that's going on. And for baseball, Eric, I just feel like they could have made a statement with this where they just flat out ban people like Alex Cora, if they knew that there were certain people with the Astros that were more involved than others and had direct knowledge of this happening and were allowing it to happen and playing a part in it, then you got to ban them from the sport. That's the precedent that was set with what you did with Pete Rose, with the potential for manipulation. Well, now you have direct manipulation. They could have banned it. That is what's going to curb people from doing that or any other type of action in the future, is when they know they could lose that source of income. It could be gone, banished from them. Now they just make it of like, well, hey, it's kind of like PEDs. If I can get through it, have some great years, get to that next contract, it's all guaranteed. Who the hell cares if I get caught? And it's like for these guys, well, if we find something that we can do, we're multimillionaires. What's a year off? Probably could go do TV somewhere if we really needed to make money. And then in a year you get back with the team as a bench coach, and eventually down the road you're a manager again.
Yeah, I buy what you're selling. If this thing with the Red Sox turns into anything severe, I would fully support Cora being banned for life at that point. And I would have actually supported it already, because I think, like we said, with the PEDs, with the other things going on in Major League Baseball, the fact that you're just not sure if you can trust the results now. The Astros, as we said, win a first World Series in their franchise, and now it's tainted. How am I going to sit down and spend any time watching a sport or devoting myself to statistics when I might find out later that they don't matter? So I'm buying what you're selling. Justin, what I'm wondering is what Odell Beckham Jr. was selling to the LSU players after the game when the LSU Tigers won the national championship. Do you know what he was trying to do there?
Man, I don't ever know what Odell is trying to do. I mean, he's on the sideline and you're like, this is cool. He's there supporting LSU and he's supporting the program. And then he's like on Pat McAfee's feed and he's like fake kicking field goals. And you're like, okay, well, that's kind of weird. And then all of a sudden they win. And it's all about LSU, and then Twitter takes over with all the videos and all the craziness that Odell is up to. He's handing out real money. No, that's fake money. Then Burrow says, well, I'm not a student athlete. Yeah, I got real money. And then, oh, by the way, he decides to slap a police officer's security guard on the ass. And that's also on video. And now there's a warrant out for his arrest. So he may get banished from LSU and can't be around them. And, he gets to make a trip back to New Orleans for the warrant for his arrest. I mean, talk about a guy who should have been there at a moment to enjoy a national championship by his alumni. And instead, he's become the story for the next 3 days after it. And all it is just one embarrassing story after another. I got to ask you, Eric, you saw what AB put on Instagram and the way that his weekend went as well, the last few days for him. I mean, are these guys in a competition to just find out who can just run their life in the ground at a higher rate of speed?
Well, I still have to give the award to AB. I have to say,
was it the gummies that put him over the top?
Yeah, maybe that, or, maybe throwing racist taunts at the police officers. By the way, with the Odell Beckham Jr. thing, simple battery in the state of Louisiana holds a $1,000 fine, but a maximum jail sentence of up to 6 months. If I were Louisiana, I would actually throw him in jail for just maybe a month or two, just for the sheer fact that not necessarily that he slapped the cop on the backside, but that he taunted the cop after that. To me, that's where we are in our culture these days, is that we have absolutely no respect for authority, no respect for the men and women of service in this country, whether it be the military or our brave men and women who are in uniform with the police or the fire departments. That bothers me maybe more than anything. And so if I were a judge, I would stand up to that and throw his butt in jail for a month or two and just make him think about what an idiot and a disrespectful jerk he is for doing that part of it. And that goes into the AB thing. I don't know what is wrong with this guy's head. I mean, he's on Twitter all the time and I follow him, well, for two reasons. One, just to find out if he's in jail that day, or number two, so that I can clap back at him because I just find that entertaining for myself. Even if he never reads it, I don't care. It just entertains me. But, every day the guy has something to say. And if you watch this now, I think it's like 20-minute full version of his live Instagram feed where there was a domestic dispute with his girlfriend, which, by the way, he hashtags no more white women for 2020, so he clearly believes, this is a racial sensitive issue.
That's a strange resolution.
Yeah. So, high quality individual, but then the things that he is saying to the police officers when he's asking them for help to get this lady off his property and get his car keys back because she allegedly has stolen his Bentley. And you're going to do that by yelling, cracker to the white cops. You're going to yell, hateful and derogatory things. You're going to call them by, female body parts, all of these things. And by the way, use the F word and the N word and all this stuff repeatedly for 20 minutes. Where are we as a culture that that's allowable, that we can talk to our police officers like that? I mean, and now he's on Twitter today saying words are not a crime. Do not be afraid to use your words. Well, what's he get for that? His own agent, Drew Rosenhaus, who usually will accept just about anybody with money, has said, no, something's wrong with this guy. He needs to get counseling. He needs to get help. And I'm going to remove myself as an agent. He's filed with the NFLPA to be terminated conditionally from his contract with AB. There's a lot of backlash from that Instagram video. Well, how does the AB handle that? He retweets an Adam Schefter report and says, hey, football season's over for both of you, so I guess you can use a pallet of gummy dicks. So he's clearly in a sane place and of the right mind. So look, I'm currently going through the Netflix special on Aaron Hernandez. Certainly a very sad story. And I have a bad feeling, Justin, that we'll be watching an Antonio Brown documentary within 5 years.
Man, it seems like that's the path we're on. And when you break it down to that, there was some talk about like the Burfict hit from years ago and then just how crazy Antonio Brown's behavior became after that, how irrational and volatile he became. I mean, I think there's something to it for sure. It just feels like this guy is just not right in the head. He is just, it's like I said a couple of weeks ago, you feel like he's got a whole team of just different personalities, like that movie Split, where there's like 27 different personalities of AB, and you're never really sure which one you're going to get. on Twitter. And I just can't for the life of me believe why someone like Tom Brady would try to have anything to do with this guy. Why would you want that guy in your house, around your family, with the way that all that stuff that you said that he did, his kids were right around that, Eric. You start talking about, young kids. You start talking about like the impression that that's going to leave on them, and the way that AB has set up his life, like how good of a life those kids should be in. And here they are getting put in the back of police cars, and they're all this drama around them. I mean, the dude's just messed up, man. Even as a parent, there's just something wrong with him, that even with your kids, that you can't even have like a shred of decency about you, or the ability to like just to shut the hell up. And I'd like to use a different word, if we could, but I mean, it's just getting to that point with this guy where it's just like, man, just go away. And he feels like, Eric, he is on like the Chris Henry route, where it's going to be like jumps out of a car, does something stupid, gets high on something, and you just hope at that point, if he's going to go that road, that he just doesn't take anybody else with him at that point, because his behavior is so erratic. Look, Drew Rosenhaus dealt with T.O. doing sit-ups in a yard with helicopters flying over his head, and he was cool with that, and he cannot take Antonio Brown. He's just absolutely walked away from him. That's how bad it is, Eric. That is not good. Everything that Drew Rosenhaus has had to deal with, and Antonio Brown is the guy that kind of breaks him, where he's like, you know what? I got to get away from this guy. This guy's going to sink both our careers. That's when you know things are bad. And it's probably worse than we even know, because we're not even around it. God only knows what we don't know that this guy's up to.
Yeah, I think I think there's a lot to that. In fact, one of the lawyers that was going to represent him, in his defense on one of his assault cases from 2018 has actually removed himself from Antonio Brown's legal counsel. So, Justin, I do think there are more things here, and it's that whole where there's smoke, there's fire thing. I think Antonio Brown's life, unfortunately, gets a lot worse before it gets better. And, I'm with you. I just hope that he doesn't take anyone else out with him. And I clapped back at him, as we end this segment, that, yeah, words are not a crime necessarily, especially when you're on your own private property, but they do show character, of which he seems to have none. Speaking of character, I know over the next couple of weeks, we're going to want to get into basketball. We're going to want to get into the PGA Tour. Justin, our boy Bryson DeChambeau,
I was going to ask you, he's flaring up the rivalry there with Koepka. What's going on? Your PGA golfers are going to throw down? Patrick Reed's lost his mind. He's cheating and yelling at people and blocking you on Twitter. And now you've got Koepka and DeChambeau. What the hell is going on in the PGA Tour?
I love it, man. I love it. These golfers of the new age, they're just great. I am looking forward to hopefully the pay-per-view match between DeChambeau and Koepka, although it's not going to be exactly. It's not going to be like the Tiger Phil thing. I want it to be a cage match with
It's actually going to be skins. Like they're going to take their shirts off and it'd be a full skins match.
Did you see the burn?
Compare abs.
Did you see the burn from Koepka today?
The 4-pack?
Yes.
He's too short?
I loved it. So apparently, DeChambeau has gone on this, big weight training exercise regimen and gained 25 pounds. And now he thinks he's all big and tough. Although I've been to some of these events.
My God, can you imagine how long he would be on like a bench press rack? If he lifts as slow as he plays, he probably is in the gym like 12 hours a day, but he only does like a 1 hour workout.
He's like, dude, one more set. I'll be off in 45 minutes.
Hold on. I got to check the angle of this bar and make sure it's proper geometry.
Oh gosh, he's such a Napoleon complex type of guy. He's actually really small.
Does he wear that hat to the gym too?
I hope so, because that's the only way that it would be acceptable. He's really small. Like Koepka's pretty big, and he's not as big as all the writers want to make him out to be. He's not an NFL lineman. I hate to tell people that, but if they did have a cage fight, Koepka would whoop his tail. I'm just telling you that right now. I don't care about this 25 pounds that DeChambeau has gained. Koepka would absolutely nail him to the ground. I did love the burn by Koepka. Like, yeah, I don't have a 6-pack, but I do have 4 major championship trophies. So I've got a 4-pack, just too short. So DeChambeau, keep running your lips, keep running your mouth and doing all your smack. Justin, the XFL is going to start soon. Have you settled on a team? I think I'm going to go with the New York Guardians, just to keep with sort of maybe the Guardians will win more games than my Jets do out of New York. So are you going to go with the DC Defenders?
I think so. That's where I'm leaning. I like the colors. I like the red. They got Cardell Jones.
They do have cool uniforms. I got to give you that.
I'll probably go that direction to stay local with them.